think the age of miracles that I think that we are poised at the start of. After that meditation that reminds us that now we speak in terms of energy, vibration, our oneness with the universe, I would like to present to you my compliments, because if you're here, wherever you are when you see this, if you're down for this level of conversation, you're what they call a leading edge person. You're part of the leading edge. And let me explain to you what I mean. I think that we're at the start of a golden age, an age of miracles. And when I say that, I mean, consider my perfect example. The actress Betty White, everyone knows her. Seems like a very sweet lady. She's still alive. And when she was born, they did not have sliced bread in packages. If you looked into the sky, they did not have commercial air flight until a few years after she was born. So living in an age where some things are normal and being at the start of an age when those things change completely, sliced bread, planes in the sky is a normal thing we see. Telephone service around the world, they didn't have that until she was 15 years old, and that lady is still working and alive and adorable. We, it seems, are at the start of a new age also. And what seemed normal to us, not realizing that we're connected, thinking of the world as a mechanical place as opposed to, or the universe as mechanical, as opposed to full of consciousness. It's an amazing combination of things. On the one hand, we do have global communication, instantaneous global communication, at a time when we are reuniting with the knowledge of our ancestors that everything has consciousness in it, that we are one. And at the same time, we're at a point where we can see the connection to the most advanced of our sciences, which is telling us, and that's quantum electrodynamics, which is telling us that there's consciousness in everything and we are one with everything. And even though that knowledge has been around, certainly the ancestral knowledge has been around for millennia. There's the example in Sanskrit, aham brahmasmi, I am the universe and the universe is me. These are not new thoughts, but we've come through, I think, a dark age, an age of fighting and war, as if that's normal. An age where we had ancestral knowledge disparaged. And now we're in the age where scientists not only acknowledge these subtle things, like there's consciousness in everything, they're even acknowledging that the people they call indigenous, people who are indigenous to wherever their area is, that they might have the best knowledge for saving our planet. They might have the knowledge that keeps places from being flooded, that reclaims forests, that will keep us alive, that will, that will save our biodiversity and our planet. So of all the times to be alive, we're at a place where not only do we reclaim that knowledge and bring that knowledge into communication with our most advanced science, we're at a time when it can spread around the world as it never could before. And that is what could make it possible for us to have a golden age. I know we're going through things. I'm not crazy. I've lived through this world, through this life, this year and a half of pandemic and 45 and still having wars over whose God is the nicest. I know that's true. But at the same time, as many futurists are saying, and the famous futurist Barbara Marx Hubbard said, instead of this being the crazy apocalyptic dystopian craziness and suffering and pain, what if this is the labor pains? What if these are the labor pains for the new world? And the reason that might be so, well, for one thing, is because you're here having this conversation in essence with me, but also because we are able to see, we've suffered enough that we're able to see that we don't really want to suffer like this anymore, that people are standing up for each other around the country, around the world. People are beginning to say compassion and action is the way to live. I mean, there is that couple, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Their brand is compassion in action, and service is universal. That we live in a world where people talk about compassion in action as a brand upon which they can profit, but more than that, upon which they can stand and people applaud. That's a new time. That's a new time. And beyond that, we're living at a time where the subtle knowledge of our ancestors is combining with the most advanced science. So wherever you're from, at some point in history, there were people who were spiritual, as we're still calling it, people who were Reiki masters centuries ago. That's practical applied physics and energy work. There are people who were speaking with ancestors, cultures that still, even though they were teased about it during colonialism and imperialism and all sorts of eras of nonsense that I hope we're passing out of, they still were called ancestor worshipers because they knew they were still hearing from, in communication with, and loved by their ancestors. And now you can turn on, I don't know how many television shows, and they're not calling it ancestry worship. They're calling it the Long Island Medium. They're calling it, psychic investigators. This is a new world. This is not Victorian era where they would have a fit if you said that. This is an era where it's part of our science. It's in keeping with our best science. And at the same time, it's available to all of us. I love that thing that James, that meditation that James played for us. There was a quote in it: how may I heal? What healing can I bring forward? What is it I'm supposed to bring forward into the world? Well, if you are even considering that there is more to this world than the mechanical aspect of it, if you are even asking yourself, what is it that I can bring into this world? What healing do I offer? What healing is possible that I can participate in? You're part of the new age. If you're post-racist, if you don't have a problem with LGBTQIA people, if you understand that all of our different abilities are valid and that all people with a spectrum of abilities that are no longer called disabilities, because we embrace each other, because we're at the point where we are starting to embrace each other in love, and where we are seeing ourselves as one with each other. That's a new world. That's the difference between a world where there's no sliced bread you can buy in a store and suddenly sliced bread is no big deal, where there are no planes in the sky and suddenly it's normal for there to be planes in the sky. For us, it is a world we've come from where it is normal for people to be teased about being intuitive, where people used to downplay calling things hunches and not looking at them very carefully. to now being in a world where these are the conversations we get together and have. One of my favorite examples, this place where we are meeting right now, it is called the Celebrate Life Progressive Spiritualist Community. I tell you frankly, I'm done with churches. So the fact that we are already constructing places to gather and have these deep, deep conversations and acknowledge our intuitive abilities and acknowledge our oneness within love, and love as a vibration and an energy that is universal, that goes beyond our bodies. This is some leading edge conversation. You are leading edge people. This is what we will be looking back upon as an era when it started. It really started. This oneness, this structuring of a new world based on love and compassion and wellness for all. And I guess the other thing I just want to say to you, besides my compliments, because you're engaged in such conversations, if you are someone who is wondering at their own abilities, am I psychic? Am I intuitive? Can I be more intuitive than I've been, more psychic? Then you are indeed the leading edge. You are part of what our children's children will look at and say, not only did they understand the assignment, they started to live it and breathe it. And therefore we get to. And I praise our ancestors, because before there was religion, there was knowledge of love and oneness and connectedness. There was wonder at what we saw around us and a feeling that there was consciousness in it. And now we are here again, but we are here poised at the end of wars and an embracing of each other with love, embracing each other's creativity. And I mean, TikTok, people being creative all over the place, YouTube, sharing love and oneness and taking that into the future, going past any religion and just wondering and being okay with considering how far we can get with love and oneness. My last piece to you, truly, we are actually living at a time where around the world at 11 o'clock, people are meditating and focusing on a joyful world. People are acknowledging the law of attraction and living into it. And with the aim that of all the things they can attract, let us attract love. Let us attract well-being, healing, oneness, joy, abundance that is healthy, that doesn't hurt, conversations worth having with each other, and a world where all prosper. That's a cutting edge I don't mind being on. And I'm glad to be there with you. And I thank you.